Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2.
Yeah!
Off to a great start.
Oh, yeah. How's it going, everyone? Yeah! Come on.
Welcome, friends, family, teachers, and staff to the graduation of the class of 2022. Thank you all for coming to celebrate this special day with us. Marshals, will you please sit the seniors?
Marshals, you can sit them down. Come on, it's okay. Yeah. All right.
Before we talk about who we are, would the chamber singers and the seniors in the concert choir please go get ready to sing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right here.
Okay. I would bet on every single person sitting here in front of me that they know who this is, because everybody knows Jake. But for those of you who don't know, this is Jacob Orlin, and he will be emceeing graduation with me. He will be attending Dean College to study musical theater in the fall. He won the Drama Award and starred in CHS's production of Once, and has been involved in the senior-directed one-acts for all 4 years, and he's been a part of 3 festival shows. A fun fact is that on the first day of school, freshman year, he walked up to me in the hallway and shook my hand and introduced himself, and I think that pretty much sums up his whole personality. Definitely the friendliest person I know. Now I'll pass on the mic to Jake. And by the way, he says hi, Mom. And I'd like to give a shout out to my parents. I love you.
What's going on, Concord High? It's good to be here. This is Laura Houle. And she's without a doubt the funniest person I know, because she laughs at all my jokes. So Laura is a great student and always, finds the best in people. Some weirdo, Laura will be attending the University of Rochester, and she will be double majoring in neuroscience and music. And she's going to take music lessons at Eastman. She also starred in Once, and she won the school talent show by playing piano upside down. So that's a fun fact about Laura. So first, we would like to take a moment to recognize the seniors in our class who have enlisted in the military. Please rise when I call your name. Connor Bowman, the Army. Logan Poisson, Marines. And Emma Taria, Marines. We would like to invite Mr. Reardon up to talk. So.
May everyone please rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's Say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good windy morning. What a beautiful day this is. Let me first offer my congratulations to each member of the Concord High School class of 2022. And of course, to your families who over the past roughly 18 years, some rougher than others, have nurtured, guided, and loved you to arrive at this moment. A shout out too to our Performing Arts Director, Clint Close, for again coordinating our sound for graduation, to our architecture teacher, George Golden, for designing today's seating configuration, to our guidance department leader, Jonathan Flower, who has the daunting task of pronouncing correctly the names of 340 graduates, and to Gabe Cohen, Bryn Cowett, and Tony Varga, and all of the different components of the CHS Music Department for their wonderful outing today. Let's give them a round of applause. Most prominently, we need to recognize the tireless, detailed, and thoughtful work of Lisa Lamb, who who has again dedicated herself to the success of both today's ceremony and to organizing a terrific prom Thursday evening. The level of expertise and commitment she brings to these events is beyond impressive. A round of applause, please, for Ms. Lamb. And as long as we're thanking people, it makes a lot of sense to recognize some categories of graduates today, who are, after all, the reason we're here. So, to those of you who have excelled in the classroom over the past 4 years, thank you for authentically possessing a quality whose name gets thrown around with much to abandon these days: excellence. To those of you who have not so simply shown up each day, completed your work, and conducting yourselves with decency and decorum, thank you for making our community here at Concord High School work. You are and will continue to be the backbone of our society. To those of you who have learned from your mistakes, I'm a charter member. Thank you for reaffirming our belief in a fundamentally American premise: things get better. To those of you who are leaders, thank you for your courage. To those of you who have helped others, either through our service organizations or just because helping is part of who you are, thank you for practicing arguably the most important quality imaginable: compassion and caring for others. To those of you who have recently become Americans, thank you for enriching our school and community with your culture and strength. To those of you who have represented our school on the playing field, the stage, and through our many clubs and organizations, thank you for your intensity and talent and commitment, qualities that will serve to make all our lives richer and our society thrive in the future. To those of you who have matured, changed, and basically gotten your act together over the past few years, a special thank you for your growth as the best gift any teacher or parent or community could receive. And certainly to those of you who are sitting here this fine morning by the skin of your teeth, thank you for the accuracy of your calculations. So, the future awaits in all its promise and uncertainty. Think of the individual journey each of you has made. I know that's exactly what your parents are doing right now. Think how you face struggles large and small, how you've grown physically and emotionally and intellectually. Consider the role your maturing sense of responsibility, personal dignity, and obligation toward others has played in defining the person who sits here this morning. Now broaden your thinking a bit, well, actually quite a bit, and consider how far humanity, all of us, throughout history and before history, has come. Think of what's been accomplished in, say, treating diseases or in establishing fundamental human rights. You guys remember Martin Luther King saying, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Consider the work that's been accomplished in substantially lessening hunger and poverty throughout the world, or the strides we've made in technology. Where would we be without Instagram? Now reflect on one last thing. Think about how difficult it remains, indeed almost always has been, despite what humans have accomplished, how hard it is simply to be a human being, how vulnerable and fragile we all remain, how susceptible we still are to disease. Anybody up for another round of COVID? How open we are to doubt and cynicism and despair, how intolerant we can be of one another, or to take that trope forward another few unfortunate steps, how hateful and destructive we can be toward others, and even sometimes toward ourselves. The gulf between what our minds and hands can create on the one hand, and how we too often treat and think about one another on the other, is what might be called, and this is your last high school vocabulary word, a dichotomy, a dangerous, frustrating, at times seemingly unbridgeable split. Let me make two modest suggestions as a pathway toward bridging that gulf. First, those major accomplishments I mentioned a moment ago, that can't stop. As we gather on this momentous morning to honor the class of 2022, your parents and teachers' sense of pride and perhaps our graduates' feeling of relief and anticipation need to be tempered by the stark reality that throughout the world at this very moment, in places like India and Germany, Canada, and Brazil, there are young women and men, your contemporaries, who are in effect preparing to steal your lunch money by working harder than they think you're going to work, by dedicating themselves to knowing more than they think you're going to know about how to, say, make efficient modes of transportation, capture greenhouse gases. They're getting ready to think and create more innovatively than they think or hope you'll be able to. You and all the rest of us need to be sure that they're mistaken in those assumptions. We can work ourselves into a national lather about the price of gas or poor people coming across our southern border, but what's actually going to rock our collective ship of state to change the quality of the lives each of us will lead in the future is a Dutch or Nigerian college student who's working on a more viable renewable fuel source, or a new generation of portable home-based medical technologies, or a plan to develop giant turbines to capture the ocean's currents. Most likely, it's going to be something that's not even on the horizon yet. But whatever the nature of the innovation turns out to be, it will have the capacity to change the way the world works, the way it's politically aligned, and consequently, the way power is allocated. None of us want to be on the wrong side of that equation. If we, that is you, are not competitive and indeed dominant in this way of thinking and innovation, the lives of all Americans will be inestimably diminished. The real question isn't about the next generation of cell phones. It's about what's going to change cell phones altogether. In order to do these things, all of us must continue to be engaged in and with the world. We need to continue the often difficult and always frustrating job of grappling with understanding what is occurring around us in all its complexity and contradictions. And further, we need to try to understand why these things occur and how we should respond to these events. Learning is not just a matter of taking courses or attending school. It's an attitude towards experience that transcends our immediate emotions or our raised voices, with a commitment to use our intellect and reason and experience as guides to how we respond to the world. To face our futures without the determination to continually strengthen our minds and our authentic understanding of our world is folly. It's all connected, graduates. Our actions, the decisions we make, the choices we pursue have consequences. We have to understand what those connections are, why they occur, and how we can reasonably respond to them. That's again why we can't stop learning it in every conceivable way. And it's not a matter of a choice between having a good time in life and being engaged with the world. Rather, it's a cause and effect proposition. If we're not engaged in the world, none of us is going to have a good time, because we're going to be on the relegated to the sidelines of human events. My second proposal, and this is the more important of the two, is to suggest that we all practice radical kindness, which, like your engagement with the world, is as much a mindset and attitude as it is a set of behaviors. Something that's radical suggests that it's fundamental and profound in its depth. It's at the core and center of a thing. And by being radically kind to one another, I'm not just speaking about your classmates and neighbors and siblings, but your attitude toward everyone, even those kids in China and France who are planning to steal your lunch money. After all, there's nothing wrong with competition, which only makes us stronger and more productive. There is, however, something very wrong with and very debilitating and destructive about hating what we don't know and fearing what we don't understand. That's where your engagement with the world comes in. Are there dangerous and destructive people out there? You bet. And we'd be fools to be anything other than eternally vigilant in our awareness of them and opposition to them. But as much as those who are violent and dishonest discombobulate our thinking of what the world is like, it's essential to understand that they are not everybody, nor are they even remotely close to everyone. Remember, most people, indeed just about everybody, want their families to be safe, healthy, and happy, just like you, just like me. And just like you and me, people everywhere want to lead lives of meaning and harmony with others and the world around them. If we remember that, if we remember how difficult life can be by itself, even before we make it harder, we'll realize the folly of being anything other than kind and compassionate to one another. 3,500 years ago, Plato advised us to be kind to everyone you meet, because they are fighting a hard battle. Has that changed in 3,500 years? I think not. There's another passage in the Bible that counsels us to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. That's what we've been talking about. Keep your mind sharp, keep your hearts open. That's pretty good advice and a good way to live your life. So use your minds, keep them strong, apply them to the world, make it better, make us proud.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I sprinted back up here to introduce the alma mater, if you will. Hail to Concord High. Hail to Concord High. There's no second hail from our beautiful voices. So enjoy.
High as the mountains, in our thoughts you
Now we would like to take a minute to introduce Maddie Barton, who will be talking about the memory chair. Maddie will be attending the Hart School of Music at the University of Hartford in the fall and studying musical theater. She is very, very involved in theater outside of CHS, in professional companies, and also within CHS. Please welcome Maddie Barton.
Hi, everybody. You know, I hear the stories about, like, all the kids who are, like, sweating under their gowns, but I never thought that I would be freezing. I'm, like, gripping my gown, trying to not freeze. Okay. Hi, everyone. I ask everyone here today to raise your hand if you knew someone who wasn't able to make it to graduation today. Keep your hand raised if that person has passed away. Everyone look around you. You're not alone. We all have one, a memory chair, an empty chair next to us that represents either a family member, a friend, or perhaps someone we lost due to COVID-19, or even a pet. Imagine for a minute, what do they look like, sound like, act like? What would you say to them if they were sitting in the chair next to you today? Today, I would like to talk about my memory chair. My name is Maddie Barton, and my chair is filled by my friend, Kerrigan Johnson. We met in 2nd grade when I was throwing out an apple core at the Eastman School cafeteria. The only reason I remember that story is because the only reason why I remember that small snippet of how we met is because I used to tell that story to everyone. If Kerrigan was standing in the same room as me, I promise that every person in that room would know that story. And if you already heard it, well, guess what? You're going to hear it again. For whatever reason, I thought mine and Kerrigan's meeting was the most hilarious thing. Some of you may not have had the pleasure of meeting her, but Kerrigan went to Eastman, Broken Ground, and Runlet for under a year. You may have seen her in the hallway or sitting across from you during art class. Kerrigan was the type of person who would go out of her way to make you smile. When she walked in the room, the whole space would brighten. Like me, Kerrigan had a passion for music, dance, and performing. The two of us would spend hours choreographing dances to every song on the Hairspray soundtrack. Her love for music is what keeps me working hard and staying focused on my future. In the fall, I will be attending the University of Hartford, pursuing a musical theater degree at the Hart School Conservatory. The two of us dreamed about pursuing the arts, turning the best part of our day into a full-time career. Kerrigan taught me a lot about the importance in believing in yourself. Anyone can turn around and cheer on a friend, but cheering on yourself is a whole other level of difficulty. We'll have one more interactive activity, and then I promise I won't make you do anything again. Please raise your hand if someone has doubted you in any way. Keep your hand if that person was yourself. This is our reality. Us humans struggle constantly with confidence in ourselves. However, it wasn't always like that. I remember a time when I was my biggest supporter and nobody could say anything to change my mind. Many of you probably remember a time similar to this. However, time goes on and you change as society takes a hold of you and you fall into that everyday pattern of self-doubt. You get busy and prioritize other things over yourself. But the supportive person inside of you didn't just go away. During my time writing this speech, I had the opportunity to reflect on Kerrigan, what she was to me, the impact she had on my life, and what her dreams were. Back then, we didn't talk about realistic job opportunities or college debt. Little Kerrigan and little Maddie knew we would make it. And this is something I hope all of you can take away from this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maddie. Next up, we have our competitive speaker, who is Peyton Trento. The competitive speaker is explained in the program, and this year's winner is Peyton. She will be attending Northeastern University in the fall and majoring in behavioral neuroscience and doing clinical research. She was the captain for the girls' varsity volleyball team, and she was also part of the tennis team this spring. She would like to thank her friends and family for coming. Please help me welcome Peyton Trento.
Good morning, everyone. One second. Okay. As literary icon Dr. Seuss once wrote, "You're off to great places. Today's your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." I stand before you today knowing two things for certain. One, I will not be disclosing the number of times I comb through the pages of "Oh, the Places You'll Go," looking for the perfect quote. And two, after more than 12 years of hard work in more than 3 schools involving countless late nights and early mornings, today we join together to receive our high school diplomas. I'd like to take a brief moment to appreciate those who were there for us along the way. Please turn in your chairs and give a wave or a smile to those who sacrificed 3 hours of their Saturday morning to sit and wait to hear one name out of nearly 400 be announced into the microphone. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Grandma, Grandpa. While we are the ones who earned these diplomas, none of this would have been possible without your emotional support, constant encouragement, and rides to practices and rehearsals, even in the most trying of times. Through every obstacle and new normal, you have been the one constant in our ever-changing world. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of our administrators, coaches, and teachers who, above all else, made every effort to provide for us what many other schools could not. An attempt at a normal senior year. Just 2 days ago, we attended prom. 2 years ago, prom was canceled altogether. Graduation ceremonies during the height of the pandemic were broken into multiple sessions throughout the day, something that we've been more than fortunate to avoid. Our senior year has not been without its challenges. The return of our classmates to in-person learning has provided us with unique memories, to say the least. Despite this, your efforts have not gone unnoticed, and I believe I can speak for all when I say the opportunity to experience a normal senior year and graduation means more than you know. I like to think that the mountains referred to by Dr. Seuss represent all of the challenges and journeys throughout our lives. I am proud to acknowledge the most recent of mountains tackled by our class is one we have in common. Graduating high school, so far the tallest mountain of all, is one now proudly behind us. I remember vividly my first day of freshman year looking towards the impossible summit of the Memorial Field graduation stage. As is the case of any mountain, there is no one correct way to climb. Some of us followed the well-marked, most commonly traveled trail, the safe one, proven to result in success nearly 100% of the time. Others of us made a new path through the rocks and trees. A few of us got pretty lost along the way, but made it to the top nonetheless. We have all, of course, overcome a variety of obstacles along our journey, the most obvious being the dark shadow cast by the COVID-19 pandemic, an obstacle so testing it is a wonder we managed to surpass it at all. The class of 2022 suffered numerous small losses early on. When the pandemic struck, winter and spring athletes were stripped of their shots at championships. Some of us never got to experience sophomore seasons at all. The musicians and artists of CHS missed out on end-of-year exhibits and concerts. They were forced to practice via weekly Zoom calls. We adjusted to life behind a screen, not knowing if or when we would ever walk the halls of Concord High School again. Perhaps then the biggest loss was those physically closest to us. Despite every challenge and detour, I'm here to say that today, nobody cares how you got here. They only care that you made it. Class of 2022, what is most remarkable about each and every one of us is resilience and drive. Our ability to take a situation as challenging as a global pandemic and continue on. The coming months are filled with so many new questions, such as what will these mountains look like? Where will they be? What are we going to do next? The unsettling uncertainty of our lives is but one challenge in the near future. Despite this, as soon-to-be graduates, we have the power to determine when and which mountains we will climb. Of course, there will be obstacles ahead, but I fear not for the setbacks to come. Instead, I am excited to see all of the ways that we will persevere to make a difference in the world. I would like to end this speech by reading another excerpt from Dr. Seuss. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go, though the hack and cracks howl. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far, and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with great care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up with your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98% and 3/4 guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So be your name Buxbaum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Lee v. Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Class of 2022, thank you for your time and for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. Congratulations again, and roll Tide.
Thank you so much, Peyton. These speeches are absolutely wonderful, and there's so much love that goes into every single one of them, and that is just, it's priceless. So thank you so much. One thing we would like to do that we decided would, was appropriate was recognize an athlete. Recently, Samuel Hiltz won New England's, and he crushed his personal best as well as broke the school record. So we would just like a moment to recognize him for that, because we didn't get that. That being said, having been said, sorry, Mom, we'd like to invite Valedictorian Elizabeth Blinn to come make her speech. She is not only the valedictorian, but also a varsity athlete for 3 sports for 12 seasons total, which is absurd, so crazy. She will be attending Bentley University, majoring in business and playing volleyball there. And she holds school records in both volleyball and softball. She's a 3-season varsity athlete for all 4 years, 12 varsity seasons. That's the max you can do it, by the way, so good looks. She's the treasurer of the National Honor Society, and she would like to thank her family, friends, teachers, coaches, and the entirety of the CHS community for supporting and sticking with her through all of these years. So, Elizabeth Blinn.
Good morning, class of 2022 and the Concord High School community. Life is full of many unknowns. As we gather here today, I want you to think back to the first day of our freshman year. Sitting in the hot and sticky classrooms with so many thoughts and feelings overtaking ourselves, not knowing what the next 4 years would entail. What class do I have next? Am I gonna get lost? Will I have any friends in this class? Now I want you to think much further back to when you were in first grade. Whether you were in Concord, Deerfield, or any other school that you may have moved from, you probably had different thoughts going through your mind. Thoughts more along the lines of, who's going to be my friend? When is lunch? And when is recess? Clearly, we had very different ways of thinking at these 2 moments in our lives, but one thing that they had in common were the unknowns. Every day, we face the unknown, not knowing what our future will hold, what career path you will take, where you will live, or sometimes things as simple as what you will eat for dinner. Feeling overwhelmed, confused, and fearful can be the emotions that you often feel. In these situations, I find that it is my friends and family whom I have built relationships with that support me in taking on the unknowns of everyday life. We have all grown in so many ways, and the relationships that we have formed with one another are a pivotal aspect in that. As our time in high school comes to a close and we reflect on these past 4 years, it is those relationships that we have formed that stick out the most to me. Whether they have blossomed as a result of a club, a team, or simply just an everyday class, Concord High School has been the foundation for some of our strongest relationships. Personally, these relationships have led me to more opportunities and experiences that I never would have done otherwise. Some relationships have led me to more serious paths where the opportunities given prepare me for the future, and others have led me to do things outside of my comfort zone. On the note of opportunity, I have found great value in taking advantage of as many opportunities as I can. Through opportunities, you are able to expand your knowledge and skill set, often growing your personal network for the future. I am sure that we have all followed an opportunity, knowing that it would be added to our resume, but outside of the benefits on paper, certainly it taught you something new. Going into any new experience, you have those unknowns. You have questions about the opportunity. What will it entail? What will I learn? But by the end, feel confident that the unknown will evolve into the known. It is through those experiences where you continue to build relationships with people who help you through these adventures. I once joined a team with a coach who was notoriously known for really challenging his players. It was a different coaching style that I was not used to. I didn't know how I would respond or if I would actually learn anything. The only way for me to find out was to face these unknowns head on. It was a change for sure, but a good change. I learned so many new skills and knowledge about the game, and I also learned the importance of tough love. There was one time I was taken quite off guard by my coach, telling me that if I didn't keep my arms up on defense, he would take my arms, rip them off, and shove them up my nose. Thankfully, this never happened, but you'd bet I never brought my arms down again. Fast forward several years, and not only is this person a coach of mine, but they are also one of my biggest supporters and role models in life. I am forever grateful for the relationship that this unknown brought to me. It is the relationships with our family and friends that sustain us through challenging experiences and lead us to new adventures. We have all formed many different relationships, both positive and negative, during our time in high school. We have formed relationships with our peers, our teachers, and families, and everyone in between. Having diversity amongst relationships leads to a wider array of benefits. You have many more opinions when seeking advice to make a decision. You have a variety of perspectives to bounce ideas off of. However, the reality of it all is that we will not maintain all of these relationships that began during high school. You probably won't talk regularly with the majority of people who sit beside you today. Yet notice the key word there, regularly. Just because we go our separate ways does not mean that we will never talk with each other ever again. You might find that you need a connection down the road where one of your high school relationships comes into play. Think on the smaller scheme of things. Most of our friend groups have shifted dramatically since elementary school. However, for the most part, our relationships with old friends are not severed. They wait in a time capsule until the day that we need them. You know that if you need something, you can draw upon those past relationships because they were solid and real. The bottom line is that in our lives, people will come and go, but that doesn't mean that your relationship with them will completely disappear forever. As we move on from high school, I encourage us all to use our interests to direct us through a path of unknowns and opportunities. It is okay and very human to fear the unknown, but do not let that fear paralyze you. Take advantage of the opportunities presented to you, even if it is outside of your comfort zone. Remember that the relationships that you have enjoyed throughout your life, even those from way back then. Don't be afraid to initiate new relationships as you enter this new chapter and all the chapters to follow. Someone once said to me, "You won't know if you can unless you try." Class of 2022, go out there, take risks, don't back down from the unknown, and prove to yourself that you can do it, even if the journey looks different from the one envisioned.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Now we would like to invite up James Richard from the school board.
Good morning, class of 2022. Today it is my honor to represent the Concord School Board in this graduation ceremony. They're the ones right over there. You don't always see us. But also to extend the congratulations of the school board to each of you on this momentous occasion. By now, you're probably a little bit tired of being told that you have attended high school in unprecedented times. I think we're all a little bit weary, but that doesn't diminish the fact that through your commitment and your resolve, you have overcome all of the challenges of the past 4 years. Remote, hybrid, full attendance, mask on, mask off, canceled events, quarantines, and in addition to that, all your normal challenges of a senior year. AP classes, SATs, career planning, extracurriculars, trying to fit that last half credit of PE in so you can graduate today, and annoying underclassmen. By the way, class of 22, this is the ultimate senior section, and with all due respect to Mr. Reardon and the administrators, there's no underclassmen allowed here. As you go forth today on your individual paths into the future, I hope you embrace the resilience and resolve that you've developed during your time here, for it'll serve you well in whatever challenges you face in the future. But I want to also remind you that you have not faced or overcome these challenges of the past 12 years alone. You've had the support and help of your teachers and the staffs of CAHS, as well as Runlet and each of your elementary schools. You've had the support of your peers, and yes, even those underclassmen I mentioned earlier. But more than anyone else, you've had the support and unfailing love of the people in the bleachers around us and under those tents. They're the ones who taught you what your colors were. They taught you how to count. They read to you every night, often the same book over and over because it was your favorite. They helped you with math, even though they do it differently than we do in school, right? And they proofread your essays, and they gave you support and encouragement, even when your homework assignments were beyond their knowledge and abilities. They celebrated your successes, and they dried your tears, and even shed a few of their own along the way. And today, I would bet more than a few will shed tears of joy as they watch you graduate. Families come in many amazing shapes, sizes, parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts and uncles, and many others. Some are large, some are small, but they all have one thing in common: their never-ending love and support for you. They're here to celebrate this milestone with you today. A few of them may still even be listening to my words right now, but I guarantee their focus is directly on you, as it always has been. So class of 22, remember to thank your parents today. Now, I promised the superintendent I'd be brief, so before she kicks me in my brand new knee, I guess I'd better perform my formal duties. Marshals, would you please have the students of the class of 2022 rise? And Principal Reardon and Superintendent Murphy, will you join me at the podium? Principal Reardon, Superintendent Murphy, can you attest that each of the students standing before us have fully completed their course of study and have met the requirements and conditions required to graduate from Concord High School and receive their diplomas?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very good. Then as president and on behalf of the Concord Board of Education, in accordance with the requirements set forth by the Department of Education of the state of New Hampshire, I hereby declare that the graduates assembled before us on this day, June 18th, 2022, are now eligible to receive their diplomas. Thank you and congratulations.
Just need to get the scissors.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
ready? Marshals, can you please present the senior class to the podium? There you go. Catherine Marie Martell. Mia Lilith Hand. Jack Fenway Reynolds. Declan Mark Adams. Fiona May Adams. Shakie Anj Greta. Joseph Sean Ayla. Sam Michael Alberici. Tristan James Alexander. Matthias Ruff Allen. Chautel May Allen Burdett. Hassan Amiri. Caleb Josiah Anderson. Jennifer Aquino Potzon. Megan Jean Aslanian. McKenna Ann Avent. Daniel Toby Loba Babagemi. Kaylee Ruth Baker. Olivia Rose Baker. Mallory Catherine Barrett. Madison Grace Barton.
Good job, Mallory.
Connor Matthew Bowman. James Damon Bell. Andrew Conrad Bankston. Alexis Marie Yanez Bennett. Pei Young Bogman. Alexander Robert Berry. Colby Alexander Bettens. Sujan Bugel. Emma Claire Blenkhorn. Elizabeth Ann Blinn. Quincy Ann Bolduck. Shuni Claude Bongambi. Seth Davis Bonnell. Colette Marie Brochu. Anthony John David Brock. Cameron Hayes Brown. Elizabeth Murray Brown. Jaden Elijah Allen Brown. James Ryan Bruns. What did I mess up? Finnegan Brown. Christopher Robert Burke. Rhea Sky Burns. Evan Scott Buchowski. Jordan Alexander Buderbaugh. Enoch Birangiro. Alejo Caceres. Chase John Carter. Jennifer Denise Champagne. Luke Daniel Champney. Sadie Elizabeth Chandonet. Daniel Edward Murphy Chase. Kalpana Chetri. Tyler Stewart Clark Joy. Samuel Brady Coffin. Hunter Christopher Colbath. Finn Joseph Connery. Alexander Robert Constant. Margaret Jameson Cooper. Liam Barrett Cornell. Tyler Michael Coskren. Elizabeth Mara Cox. Jordan Elizabeth Cromwell. Paige Marie Bailey Cutting. Grace E. Dalton. Kigan David Daniels. Arjun Darji. Himanta Darji. Louis Jean Day. Nathaniel James Dealey. Dylan Maisie Deloiacano. Kaylee Ruth Demers. Matthew Leonard DeRozier. Nicholas Stephen DeRoziers. Liam Clancy Dooley. Seven Rain Doborowski. Campbell Lee Dow. Justin Ryan Dubois in absentia. Emma Louise Ducharme. Abigail Elliott Duffy. Evelyn Rose Duggan. Catherine Eliza Earl. Bryce Anthony Eastman in absentia. Fatima Russell Ijam. Giovanni Iliuk. Griffin Michael Ellis in absentia. Shumbusho Imable. Ethan Jeremy Everett. Adam Jacob Fennelly. Callie Elizabeth Field Benda. Destiny Victoria Fletcher in absentia. Colin Christopher Fogg. Joshua Wesley Foote. Chesney Morgan Ford. Haley Lynn Fournier. Andrew Parker Fredrickson. Aaliyah Nicole Gagnon. Sage Lee Gaudette. Adrian Christopher Giamarino. Reese Owen Gilbert. Madison Nevea Glodgett. Kaylin Morgan Goff. Emily Luisa Gomez. Ivy Lee Gooden. Abigail Elizabeth Goulis. Matea Erica Graham. Michaela Teresa Lee Graham. Max Thomas Grant. Kylie Marie Gray. James Roy Greenlow. Tyler Charles Grierson. Aaron Garung in absentia. Nirjan Garung. Pratiksha Garung. Biranjiro Habimana. Colin DeWitt Hagen. Nicole Madison Haney in absentia. Elida Rose Hare. Sienna Marie Harlow. Ava Page Harmon. Tyler Jane Harrington. Leah Corinne Harris. J.C. Allen Haskell. Donovan Reed Hayes. Auburn Mackenzie Healy. Isabel Mackenzie Hill. Lily Marie Hillsgrove. Samuel Thomas Hiltz. Joshua Stephen Hogan. Brooke Louise Holmes. Boston Troy Homer. Zachary Thomas Hooper. Laura Amy Houle. Sarah Ruth Hunton. Yvonne Iriganeza. Cody Rashad Jabo. Zoe Margonelli Jansons. Haley Jean Jerry. Hunter Dylan Jeffers. Sarah Elizabeth Janess. Kevin Joseph Jones. Dylan Robert Jones White. Stephen Kapalumba. Logan Anthony Keene. Lindsay A. Keniston. William Michael Keniston. Catherine Elizabeth Kennedy. John Robert Kenyon. Sharif U. Khan. Manaj Katari. Bailey Alexandra Yuhas Kern. Ode Kazungu. Andrew Charles Kleiner. Carly Marie Klingler. Olivia Ann Cozell. Dennis Kaluglia. Cammie Megan Labrie. Emma Catherine Labrie. Reagan Diane Lagerman. Keaton Paul Gerald Leahy. Catherine Genevieve Lanjul. Isabella Ann Lavoie. Celia Ann LeClaire in absentia. Malik Jonathan Lee. Sasha Renee Lee. James Joseph LeMahieu. Daniel April LeMay. Stephen Charles LeMay. Sarah Grace Lewis. Cheowin Lynn. Dominic Reese Locke in absentia. Marcus James Logan DeJoy. Seth Michael Lorenz. Kaylee Hannah Lyons. Grace Everett McDonald. Gabriel Chad Madison. Lexi Elizabeth Magnell. Aliana Nicole Asper Magsapak. Eleanor Rachel Millette. Julia Madison Manning. Catherine Judith Martin. Mary Helen Martinson. Trinity Hope Matthews. Carlene Danae Mathis. Dakota Blake Matat in absentia. Kelsey Page Mayer. Logan Joseph Mayo. Ella Grace McCown.
Jonathan Campbell McDonald. Camden Michael McGonigal. Emma Grace McGuckin. Michaela Lee McCurley. McKenna Margaret Melvin. Jace Edward Merrill. David Gabriel Mazzapelli. Dylan Thomas Miles. Garrett Earl Misco. Chloe Marie Morgan. Ryan Parker Morin. Pyron Fado Mugenga. Luxar Mukia. Ella M. Muleri. Nathaniel Joseph Mullen. Christine Mumoreze, in absentia. John Robert Murphy. Kaylin Elizabeth Murphy. Nyembo Alex Mutubu. Cedric Michael Myler. Riley Alora Nash. Kaylee Evelyn Nault. Owen Joseph Austin Neal. Colin Robert Nelson. Emma Marie Neuenfeld. Emily Teresa Newton. Diane Nishimwe. Audrey Nyankingie. Brandy Marie Noel. Laura Dominique Magaki Noel. Ethan Douglas Nolet. Dylan Faye Norse. Daniel James O'Brien. Arthur Oliveira Volkers. Kayla M. Oliveira in absentia. Jacob Hawthorne Montoya Orlin. Edward Flynn O'Sullivan. Ty Robert Pacheco. Ganesh Pandy. Thomas Michael Panabianco. Emma Juliana Parcells. Leorio Tanfeld Peasley. Daniel Thomas Peterson. William Peter Pegnam. Evan Keith Perkins. Hannah Jean Perry. Nehemiah Isis Perry. Cassie Sarah Fitzenmeyer. Benny Ethan Pham. Lydia Grace Phelps. Brady Mason Picard. Logan Jeffrey Poisson. Taryn Eileen Poisson. Andrew Duran Pollock. Nevaeh Price. Cameron David Quayle. Matthew Aaron Kawimpo. Rebecca Grace Kawimpo. Samuel Rogers Quinn. Manoj Rai. Alan Ramirez Arcega. Aiden Thomas Ramshaw. Madison Lee Raymond. Marshall Stephen Riedenauer. Christopher Mark Reno. Jordan Travis Reyes in absentia. Ryan David Ritgers. Danielle Ricciardelli Roberge. Amber Julia Roby. Benjamin Michael Sinclair. Hunter James St. Hilaire. Ashley Ireland Surrett. Parker Douglas Savoy. Isabel Rose Sawyer. Zoe Ida Schaefer. Evan Christian Chanella. Anthony Paul Scherl. Greta Ann Schmidt. Michael James Seduto. Rosalind Pauline Seacamp. Stephanie Gabriella Segura. Lyle Reese Setnick King. Savannah Lee Shannon. Sophia Mozzie Shawn. Ryan Samuel Sheehan. Merritt Charles Shipman. Con Sage Simeone. Danielle Erica Simpson. Frederick Jonathan Simpson III. Nicole Ann Scovera. Ryan David Smith. Caitlin Jeanette Snyder. Jeanette. Ethan Randall Solsky. Lucy Eleanor Spidell. Caitlin Guilford Spinney. Louis P. Stamus. Emma Catherine Stevenson. Abigail Fryer Norris Stevener. Elizabeth Tam Stewart Fetter. Connor Matthew Still. Jonathan Ray Stinson. Carl Peteris Sermanis. Rachel Elizabeth Talbot. Binash Tamang. Zachariah James Thomas. Alexandria Jada Toby. Emma Christine Torria. Isabel Rose Tusignant. Peyton Abigail Trento. Madison Jean Tucker. Zachariah James Twombly in absentia. Lily Geeson Ungarelli. Sean-Luc Uwimana. Cassandra Diana Vanderbilt. Serena Angela Pudawan Vasquez. Caroline Carter Venator. Emma Rose Vicnair. Shalom Francis Vineyard. Paul Anthony Viola. Griffin Robert Watts. Jordan Marie Werner. Sarah Lillian West. Ryden Weldon. Evelyn Avis Williams in absentia. Christian Jelly. And Leah Sissy Yen.
Well, that just happened. We do have one more some closing remarks, but before we do that, we promised ourselves that we would do one thing, and I hope that you guys join us in that. Yeah, all right.
Okay, as we all know, COVID has disrupted and changed every part of our lives, and it made it so we weren't able to hold the traditional election for our class officers. While there are many people in this class who have stepped up as leaders, there is one person who has really taken on the role of being our class president, and that is Katie Martell. Everybody who knows Katie would agree that she is a natural leader. Aside from the role of being the senior class leader, Katie is also the president of the National Honor Society at CHS, and she founded the Strong Women's Leaders Club. Katie will be attending UNH this fall as an honor student in the Hamill Scholars Program, where she will major in biochemistry. She would like to thank her friends and family for always supporting her and helping her get to where she is today. Please join me in welcoming Katie Martell to the stage for the closing remarks.
There is a difference between regretting and reflecting. I did not want to come up here and speak about all that our class has lost to the pandemic. Yet, as I reflected on our high school years, the strongest shared theme was that of adaptation and resilience. Depending on the subject, the definition of adaptation changes. In its most simple form, to adapt is to make something suitable for a new use or purpose, to modify. In literature, a written work can be adapted into a play or a movie. In biology, adaptation is described as a change by which an organism or species becomes better suited to its environment. But the definition of adaptation that best fits our class is to become adjusted to new conditions. If there's any one thing we all have in common, it's our ability to adapt. High school is all about change. After our 4 years here at Concord High, we know that. In case any of you didn't know or forgot, our high school experience was not normal by any standards. I would argue that out of any class, we have done the most adapting. Freshman year, we adapted to our new school. Within no time, we found the shortest, or in some cases, the longest, ways to class. We found out which bathrooms were the nicest and which areas of the school had AC. We even learned that trash can fires were a thing that existed. It is safe to say that by sophomore year, we had our feet under us, or at least, so we thought. When we were first sent home at the very beginning of our pandemic experience, we all thought, great, awesome, an extra vacation. And then days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Our first taste of remote schooling was rough. We had to balance work and free time amidst a changing world, and yet we did it. The next year, we were told to attend classes from anywhere we wanted, bedrooms, family rooms, dining rooms. All we needed was the internet and a laptop, and we did that. Following Zoom classes, it was hybrid schooling. We did that. Junior year brought in-person schooling with masks. We did that. And finally, halfway through this year, we returned to normal schooling with masks optional. Time and time again, we were asked to do something different, and each and every time we did. We adapted. Our class experienced an equal number of opportunities to adapt outside of the classroom. Our spring athletes had to find a way to maintain their skills despite missing an entire season. Our fall and winter athletes had to learn how to play in quiet gyms and on silent fields and trails. Clubs had to find ways to safely meet and fundraise. As a school, we had to find a way to create school spirit despite a lack of pep rallies and other large events. And as seniors, we became the leaders of the school without having time to learn from past seniors or even build a foundation of respect. We are not birds. We have not had to physically or behaviorally adapt to a selection pressure. We are not script writers. We have not transformed a novel into something headed for the big screens. We have, however, adapted. We've changed, modified, adjusted our entire lives to fit around an ever-changing world. Class of 2022. Class of 2022, we are resilient. No matter what our circumstances were, we powered through. Today, we celebrate ourselves and our incredible accomplishments. Today is also a day of reflection, a time to show gratitude towards all those who have helped to get us to where we are today. Maybe it was a parent, grandparent, teacher, or even one of your peers. Someone supported you and helped guide you as you worked your way through challenge after challenge. I encourage you to hug that person a little tighter today and make sure they really know how much you appreciate them. We are now graduating with unique abilities to adapt and be resilient. Our experiences gave us that opportunity, and these skills will be indispensable throughout the rest of our lives. Our current world provides ample occasions that require us to adapt. The polarized political state of our country requires us to learn how to speak kindly towards one another, to work towards a middle ground and achieving compromise. Climate change shows us every day that if we don't adapt policies and habits which protect our environment, we are going to be living in a very different world. The needs of our society are ever changing. It will be a challenge to navigate the world on our own, but class of 2022, we have the skills we need to not only survive, but thrive. Personally, I felt this speech would not be complete without a quote, and obviously a quote from Taylor Swift. So, class of 2022, please remember, life isn't how to survive the storm, it's about how to dance in the rain. Thank you. So before we conclude this ceremony, there is the matter of moving the tassel. To do this, however, I would like to invite my co-leaders up to the stage. Given the unique circumstances as our class, we were not elected in the traditional way. With that being said, 3 of us stepped up and did the job together. It is my pleasure to invite Mia Hand and Jack Reynolds to the stage. Mia will be studying political science at Suffolk University, and Jack will be studying bioengineering at the University of New Hampshire. Marshals, will you please have the senior class stand? Oh no. We were gonna take a selfie, but Jake and Laura stole our thunder, so that's okay. Class of 2022, please grab your tassel and move it to the left side. Oh gosh. Thank you. Should we throw it? Throwing it? All right. 1, 2, 3. It's stuck in my head. Woo! God, I can't get mine out.
I had to go pick one up.
It's stuck. Okay. Please be seated, and the marshals are going to lead us out.